Now, continuing with mighty passwords, and the last thing we looked at was using a safe browser, where we got to understand the importance of updating our software when there's a need for us to update our software. Then we got to understand that every time you do that, every time you perform an update from one of your browsers or on a piece of software such as Java, Adobe Reader, or Adobe Flash, a cyber criminal takes advantage of a flaw left uncorrected. Now, updates are not only used to deliver better functionality but security patches as well. Now, when left outdated, your software exposes you to serious cyber attacks such as zero-day attacks, where we also got to understand what a zero-day attack is. Now, it's a term used to describe the threat of an unknown security vulnerability to in a computer, software, or application for which either the patch has not been released or the application developers were unaware of or did not have sufficient time to address, which are downright vicious. Now, automating software updates can save you a ton of time and trouble, and it can even be free with an option such as the hand-me-down free. So again, I'm going to repeat the importance of updating our softwares. Now, how are zero-day attacks discovered? Zero-day attacks occur because of a zero-day vulnerability window that exists between the time a threat is discovered and the time a security patch is released. Sometimes, an individual who discovers a zero-day vulnerability notifies the developer about the risk, and then a patch is being created for that. Now, why is it called a zero-day attack, you might ask? They package it into a malware called a zero-day exploit. Now, the malicious software takes advantage of a vulnerability to compromise a computer system or cause an unintended behavior. Now, exploit malware can steal your data, allowing hackers to take unauthorized control of your computer. So, what is a zero-day exploit and why are they dangerous? Now, a zero-day vulnerability is a software, hardware, or firmware flaw unknown to the manufacturer. When hackers leverage that flaw to conduct a cyber attack, it's called a zero-day exploit. Now, the term zero-day comes from the fact that the vulnerability has yet to be fixed by security professionals. That is why it is termed a zero-day. So, therefore, what is a zero-hour attack? A 0 day or a 0 hour or a day zero attack or threat is an attack that exploits a previously unknown vulnerability in a computer application, one that developers have not had time to address and patch. Now, 5 steps of a zero-day exploit. Now, a zero-day exploit is usually carried out in 5 steps, which can be done just minutes after a zero security hole becomes available. 1. Scan for vulnerabilities. Hackers scan the codes of new software programs in search of vulnerabilities. Now, in certain scenarios, the exploits are exchanged between hackers. 2. Spot a security hole. Once a weakness has been spotted within a programming code, the attacker knows where to hit. 3. Create an exploitation code. Now that the hacker knows the nature of the weakness, the game is onto develop a malware to take advantage of the situation. 4. Infiltrate the system. Now, before the software developer discovers the hole or has time to react, the hacker must now slip past detection to infect the system. And then the 5th one that has got to do with the zero-day exploit is launching the exploit. Now, with the malware code now ready, the hackers plant the virus on the internet. So, don't compromise yourself. Why am I saying this? Sometimes human error is the biggest liability in our data security, so try to keep paying attention to how you share passwords. When you are either delegating work, going for a vacation or sick leave, give access to business partners, or even when a colleague asks you for a password, choose the safe way to do it. And also, be aware of the people around you. Someone might just look over your shoulder. That is known as a shoulder surfing attack. And check out your password. The shorter and the weaker, the easier it will be to remember it. Be mindful of your surroundings, both when you are online and offline. Now, the secret of Comodo Dragon browser. You might ask, what makes Comodo Dragon browser the new decade something you should go in for? Now, the Comodo companies are innovative and prolific. They are prolific developers of online security and trust assurance solutions. The Comodo Dragon has taken the latest Chromium technology and beefed it up in the one way necessary to make it the optimum browser to use on today's malware-plagued internet. Super security superior security, and privacy. Comodo Dragon not only gives you the complete complement of features offered by Chromium, that is the key features listed above, it also gives you Comodo's unsurpassed security and privacy features. It also has privacy enhancement that surpass those in Chromium's technology. Example is the Google Chrome we all use and are aware of. It has domain validation technology that identifies and segregates superior SSL certificates from inferior ones. It stops cookies and other web spies, prevents all browser download tracking to ensure your privacy. Are we okay? The next one I want us to look at is the Epic Privacy Browser. Now, Epic is a private and secured web browser that blocks ads, trackers, fingerprinting, crypto mining, ultrasound signaling, and more. It stops 600 plus tracking attempts in an average browsing session. It turns on network privacy with their own free VPN. Again, it is 100% certified by the best. Note this, some antivirus software may identify Epic as a potential threat because it's downloaded from the internet or as a modified version of Chrome. In case of any problems, you may need to turn off your antivirus and try downloading Epic again. Now, Epic has been certified as 100% clean and virus, spyware, malware free by Norton, Kaspersky, Softspedia, and many others. Epic again has in the past received awards from CNET, that is 5 out of 5 stars, PC Magazine, that was 4 out of 5 stars, and PC World, that was 4.5 out of 5 stars. So in case you end up going on the internet and then you don't get it, just draw my attention to that. And since we are on the subject of potential attacks, let's get to the next point. How cyber criminals try to break your passwords. If you are wondering how internet criminals go about cracking your credentials, here is the short list. 1. Phishing. Now, phishing is a method that cyber criminals use to steal sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card details, and sometimes indirectly money, by posing as a trustworthy entity in emails or other means of electronic communication. So if you ever receive an email that looks like a phishing mail, don't click on it. Mark it as spam and make sure you never click on the links inside, because who knows, you might be downloading a malicious software that can harm your system. The next one I'm going to talk about is brute force attack. Now, they are a tactic used by cyber criminals to find out what your passwords are. They systematically check all possible keys or passwords until they find the right one. That is why I'm always going to come again with the fact that it's always advisable to come up with a strong password that will take years to break. For this, they use algorithms that can try all of these combinations super fast. Your short, repetitive passwords are no match for them. So again, those who use just one single password for all their online accounts should come again. The next one I want to talk about is the dictionary attack. Now, you've read about this one already, but let's go over how it happens. By using an algorithm, the attackers tries hundreds of combinations derived from lists of words in dictionaries. The next one is password sniffer. Now, there's another way of collecting your confidential credentials on unencrypted websites, because the data that flows to and from the website is unsecured. An attacker can easily pick it up by using the right tools for malicious job. So again, we can say a password sniffer, it's similar to a man-in-the-middle attack, because at the end of the day, there is a person in between the server you are trying to retrieve all those vital information from and your PC you are using. Are we okay? Now, the next one is key logging, something we've been coming across so far. Also can be called keystroke logging. Now, it's a method that cyber criminals use to record the keystroke on a keyboard in order to acquire confidential information about the user. Now, this is usually done in a concealed manner so that the person using the keyboard won't know that their actions are being monitored. So if you are typing your online banking account password into your computer and there's a keylogger installed in your system, the cyber criminals behind this attack would easily retrieve your credentials. So that is a key login. Then this should tell you the importance of protecting our systems, because having a key login on your system is one of the most easiest way to give everything about you out. The next one is social engineering. Again, it's one of the most commonly used methods of cyber hacking, which requires little to no technology and relies on psychological manipulation. I always say this: if you are not greedy, the social engineering can never really get you. Now, the victim is persuaded to perform certain actions or divulge confidential information, among which are usually passwords to confidential data. The next one is shoulder surfing. Now, this is another type of attack I've mentioned before. This involves someone simply glancing over your shoulder to see what you're typing. Weak passwords can get you in big trouble in this case, because if your password is just 1234, it's easier memorizing it in mind. So always and again, always be able to come up with a strong, longer password that would take years for it to be cracked. The next one is database hacking. Someone would ask, can a database be hacked? Of course, it can. If a cyber criminal gains access to a company's user database that contains the credentials of thousands or millions of customers, and you are among one of those customers, then you could be exposed as well. Tens of data breaches have made the headlines in recent years, and they just seem to keep on coming. Now, a look at the 2016's biggest data breaches will give you an idea about the impact and consequences of such an attack. No matter how big and secure a company might seem, and eBay, Yahoo, and Apple certainly fall into that category, there is still a chance that cyber criminals would find a way to infiltrate. At least of 2016's major data breaches involved leaked passwords, as over 2 billion confidential records got leaked on the internet, many of them free for cyber criminals to use to their liking. Yes, it got bad, and it was really, really bad. That is why it's important, very, very important, to have a safe and secure browser. Of course, attacks using malware such as man-in-the-middle attacks, malvertising, spyware, adware, etc., or different types of malicious software can also endanger your passwords, as most cyber attacks also have a component that aims to capture your credentials. Now, alternatives to passwords for authentication. For the moment, no other authentication system proved capable of replacing passwords. None of the options on the market managed to be as secure, usable, and scalable as passwords are. But that doesn't mean they can't become all these things in the future. Alternative authentication mechanisms include time-dependent passwords. Now, which expire or change after a defined amount of time. The next one is single-use passwords, which can only be used once. As the name already indicates, you are probably already using these for your online banking system, where they are called transaction authentication numbers. The third one is public key cryptography. It's another option that's well explained in this guide, and any internet user can understand. The next one is biometric authentication, that relies on personal characteristics that cannot be changed, such as fingerprints, your retina, or other personal details. The next one is passwords based on something else rather than text, such as pictures, colors, graphics, and other elements. This list could go on and on and on, but I'm sure that by now you already have a pretty accurate picture of the situation. Well, conclusion, I'm going to end here on mighty passwords. Passwords will be around for a while, that's for sure. Now, before we start using biometric technology or a groundbreaking innovation comes into play, we would still rely on this method of authentication. To end this on a funny note, but educative note. Here's Edward Snowden's talking about password security with John Oliver. It's a 3-minute video that could perhaps take you into making some changes if I haven't managed to persuade you until this point. I will drop the link to that video on our platforms, on this platform, so that you can actually watch that video. And if you have any question at all based on what I've been talking about so far, you can just drop them and I'll come back to answering all those questions till you get the understanding and the importance of having a unique password, of having a long password that can protect your system, protect your confidential information, and keep you safe. Until we meet on my next podcast, stay safe, Take care, and don't forget to always wear your nose mask. Now, coming up in my next lesson is choosing the right antivirus. Now, how do you choose the best antivirus, you might ask? A tricky question with a simple answer. And the next episode or the next podcast, I'm going to delve into it in explaining it so you get the understanding of all. So we meet again. Do take care, and then re-go through till you get it, or any other question at all, just let me know.